Welcome, my people. Hola, mi gente. ¿Qué pasa? Bienvenidos. Welcome to another episode, otro episodio de Hoy En Día TV. I'm your host and producer, Yessi Rodriguez. We have another amazing Thursday segment like we usually do here on Hoy En Día TV. I'm going to bring on my amazing co-hosts. We have Dr. Ciandra Dilly, the actionist, and Nadine Barton, author, entrepreneur. Yes, both of them are author entrepreneurs, but hey, welcome, lovelies. ¿Cómo están? How are y'all?
¿Cómo estás? It's another Thursday. A rainy one at that. Well, it was raining since last night, but it stopped now. So still a beautiful day either way. How are you guys doing?
Phenomenal.
I'm doing great. Lovely. Can't complain. And even though it's raining, it's good, right? It's needed, especially for the pollen. I'm feeling a little better. So yes, thanks be to God. So yes,
that's good. Yeah, the rain is needed. I'm super excited because, as you all know, I think I've been talking a lot on the show, or maybe I haven't. Maybe I've been talking to other people out in the community. I've been talking about my grass, right? My yard, which is one big weed. We talk about you pay all this money for your homes, and they put down crappy grass. And my grass is Bermuda grass, so it's just one big weed. It just really sucks. And so we put down some fertilizers and things, to try to help liven it up, make it green, do all the things. And then we weren't getting any rain. And then they were like, "Oh, we're in a drought." I'm like, "We're not in a true drought," but they curtail the days in which you can water your lawns. And so I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And we don't have an in-ground sprinkler system. So hello, I'm the one that waters the lawn, right? And so I'm thankful for the rain because now the Lord has been watering my lawn all week. And so I'm like, yay, I haven't had to water the lawn.
See, I go out there with I'm going to send it to you, but I bought it from Home Depot where I could use it to kill the weeds. And it's been working. It killed the weed. You just attach it to your hose and you spray it. Very helpful.
It has a lot of fancy stuff like that we've used. And some of it's worked, some of it hasn't. It's just, I don't know. It's just trying to get the grass green too, because our grass is like really brown. It's just one big weed. I'm like, what do you want us to do? You gave us crappy grass, right? So I'm not going to buy new grass. Grass is expensive. If you go out to try to purchase new grass, it's very, very, very expensive. And even trying to aerate your lawn and to do all that, it's just a lot. And I'm just like, why are we investing all this money when they gave us trash to begin with? You know what I'm saying? That kind of angers me because you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for your home. They should at least give you some quality grass, but they give you the bare minimum. But like I said, this week, the Lord has been gracious to water the lawn for us. So I'm so happy.
You know what I've been noticing? Like little ant hills like on my grass. Like where the heck they came from?
Oh, I don't. Isn't there like a spray that you can spray over them?
Well, my weed killer, whatever I use, I sprayed all over them.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Stuff particularly for ants in Home Depot because I think I've used it in the past, and you just sprinkle it over the anthill and they'll disappear. So I think they come back every year or wherever they form from. So I'm not sure. I don't have a green thumb. I don't know anything about grass, and those companies, they're so expensive to hire that sometimes they make your grass even worse. So
yeah, I think our pest control guy said that like for natural things for ants, I think he said like peppermint oil and like cinnamon, it doesn't kill them, but it deters them if they don't like it. So it pushes them away from like your property. So maybe you can kind of spray that way. It doesn't kill them, right? Because technically they're in their environment, right? I'm like, if something's in this environment, I don't want to kill it. I just don't want it in my environment. So I always make the announcement, like if there's any bugs in my home, you will die, right? Because we don't cohabitate together. Right. You do your thing on the outside, I'll do my thing on the inside, and we'll all live happily ever after, right? So
yeah, I've done the peppermint oil and I've used that before and it really worked. So they really say you have to find who's going to be digging for the queen? Like seriously.
No, we ain't got time for that.
The queen and you have to kill the queen. Like, really?
Now that is funny though, that there's one queen in all those male ants. Now that is hilarious. Just thinking about the concept that you just said right now, finding the queen, and then she has all these men around.
And speaking of the queen, so to speak, Beyonce, right? You know, Beyonce and Jay-Z and their daughter Blue Ivy, they went to the Met Gala. And typically children are not allowed at the Met Gala. You have to be typically like 18, or they can make exceptions, like if the kids are there with their parents. So they did that for Beyonce and Jay-Z. But at the Met Gala, like they looked, well, Beyonce, I'm not going to say she looked amazing. I mean, she's a very beautiful woman, but her outfit, if you look at her outfit, It is the ensemble of a body, like it's a spine. Like when you look at her, I was looking at it the other day. It's the spine going down. This is the spine, right? It's going down, and then like all the little like loops. It's like your rib cage. When you look at it, you see the pelvis, like over her pelvis is like a pelvis. It's very creepy. And then of course she has this huge crown, which that crown she's wearing is of course for different goddesses and things of that nature. So it was really kind of like, I don't know, but look at it, just pull it up and you'll see what she was wearing. She always looks amazing as always. And then Blue Ivy, right? So they had a little tip, and they've been talking about this in the news with Blue Ivy, because Blue Ivy, she looked gorgeous, she was beautiful, but she had on sunglasses. And so, you know, the staff there, they were trying to tell her like to take off your sunglasses. And she wasn't having it. And then finally, right, because her and Beyonce were there taking pictures. I bet you Beyonce was kind of whispering, like, take off your glasses, you know, trying to talk. But she was not doing it. So then Jay-Z, her dad, finally came over and was like, you know, hey, take off your glasses. And she was like, when I get up there, I'll take them off, basically, right? She would not take off her glasses. So people were saying, oh my goodness, you know, Blue Ivy's like running the whole house. Like, you know, this girl is just, you know, too much and all of this and all of that. Why isn't she obeying her parents and all of that? So it was like a big thing. And then they went into this spiel of Serena Williams and her daughter and stuff. And they were saying like how the grandmothers, right, basically keep these kids in check, because I guess at some competition or some gathering or whatever it was, Serena was doing something and her daughter began to act up, and you can see the grandmother kind of whispering to her, and whatever she said to her, she straightened up real quick. Whereas like when mommy and daddy was saying stuff, the kids are like, whatever. But when grandma comes in, okay, it's like, yeah, I'm going to walk the line. So what do you guys think about that? You know, with these celebrity kids, because, you know, they're very entitled. A lot of them, I'm not going to say that they're spoiled, right? They're very, very blessed, right? But, you know, a lot of them are entitled. A lot of them don't know the meaning of hard work. A lot of them are probably disrespectful, just like kids that aren't celebrities, right? You know, that kind of thing. But what do you guys think about Blue Ivy's behavior? Did you guys read about that, hear about it, and her not obeying, right, her dad or, you know, the people that was working with them and stuff to take off her shades at the Met Gala?
I have not heard anything about it, but I mean, I'm sure, like, you know, like you said, not all of them are spoiled. I'm sure there's probably a lot of discipline into some of the household. It's just that these kids, they're going to do whatever the parents allow them to do. And I'm sure not all parents in Hollywood allow their child to act like that. So it's whatever the parents allow them to do. And it's what Jay-Z and Beyonce allow her to do, you know?
Yep, I agree. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I get it. You're in front of people and you're not trying to be embarrassed and what have you. But no, I mean, when your mom or dad tells you to do something, you do something. Like, ma'am, who are you? You don't pay bills. And if it wasn't for us, you would not be here. So sit your butt down somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the fact that she wasn't listening, it tells me that they don't have that much control over their child like they think they do.
Funny you're talking about that. So literally before the podcast, probably like 20 minutes before, I watched a video on Instagram, and this kid, you know, they were going on a road trip, and the mom told him, you know, turn off the rap music, and he attacked them. He attacked the mom. He was fighting her in the car. I think I sent it to the group. I don't know if it was on Instagram or Facebook, but I sent it to you guys. And he literally attacked her, like beating her while they're driving. And I'm like, this guy's in the backseat going ham, and the dad, they're driving, and they're not even pulling over. Crazy. Crazy.
Shenanigans. No. Guess what? Old school. The way we were raised, get the chancla, which is a sandal for those who don't know what the chancla is. Get the correa, which is a belt for those who don't know.
I know chancla.
The chancla, right? Pop, pow. You get it straight up real quick. Real quick. Like, okay, sorry, that hurts. Okay, I listen. Yep, I got it. You know?
My mom, go ahead, Daisy.
Your mom used to do that too?
Well, my mom used to say, wherever you show out, I'm going to show out right there with you. So if I show out in the supermarket, she's going to show out right there with me. Because she's like, you're not going to embarrass me, because, you know, you are a reflection of me. You know, because sometimes kids think, oh, if we're out in public, mom's not going to spank me, right? Not my mom. She'd be like, you want to show your butt right here? She would whack my bottom in a heartbeat. And then, you know, back in the day, people were like, yeah, get her. You need me to help you out, sis? Like, like, no, wait a minute. Because it was really a community, your neighborhood, right? They were raising your children. If they saw your children out there doing something, they would tell you, stop what you're doing. You know, your mom and dad wouldn't like that, you know, or they would even spank you. I never had any other person spank me besides my parents, but I'm just saying, but they would, and they could. I'm sure my parents would have 2 words to say. They'd be like, thank you very much. You know? But it's a different era now. And I believe because, you know, I know everybody don't believe in like corporal punishment, you know, and spankings and things of that nature, but the Bible is very clear. You spare the rod, you spoil the child. I'm not saying spanking is my default, it's my first go-to. We're having conversations. We're talking about, what are you doing? Why are you behaving this way? What's going on? Because the kid might be going through something emotionally, and it might just be where they're at in their developmental span. Parents have to really understand that as well, because I do believe that children receive a lot of unnecessary discipline or spankings because parents don't take the time to understand where they are developmentally, right? And just how they're going to behave. They're just going to do some silly things. But when you begin to understand that, like, oh, okay, they're 5. Okay, now they're 9. Okay, now they're 13. They're going to do certain things, right? So you got to be aware of those things and begin to have the dialogue with your children. My mom, you know, was old school, but she would always say, I mean, my mom would repeat it like a million times. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Like a million times. And she's like, okay, you're going to get a spanking. You're going to get a spanking. You're a million times. And then she goes, okay, now, you know, now it's happening, you know. Even when she was spanking us, which was not abuse, my mom was very controlled. We had a belt, we assumed the position, and it was wet. Now, I didn't assume the position. I was a runner, right? So she had to catch me. I'd be, you know, ducking. I was a runner, right? So she had to catch me. But when she caught me, okay, she spanked me on my bottom, not all over my body, not with, you know, whatever she could find. And she never spanked us in anger, never. But when she was spanking us, she goes, do you remember I told you not to do this, and yet and still you disobeyed me? So she'd be spanking me and she would be crying. It was like a whole debacle, you know, because she didn't want to do it. You know, right. And I understand that now as a mom. I don't, you know, I can probably count on one hand the number of times that I spank my kids, right, and have fingers left over, but I will spank them, you know, but I talk to them first. And you don't want to do it. You feel so bad because these are our gifts from God, right? We love them. But you do have to do that sometimes, because sometimes that's the only thing that will get their attention. And the other thing that works really well in my household, and it did in my mom's household too, was taking things away. I would be grounded. And that was like, no. Sometimes I would say, just give me the spanking, you know, but don't take my stuff. Did you guys ever do that?
Yeah. I mean, I was a good kid, actually. I was always in my room, either listening to music or writing little kids, short stories about teen pregnancy and stuff. So I'm not saying that you were a bad kid, because I don't know how you were as a kid, but I never got spankings. If anything, I just got yelled at, like, stop doing that. And I just go upstairs in my room and mind my business and be in my own little world, do my own little thing. But I would get yelled at for having loud music, because I always loved like loud boom, boom, boom music. So I'd be in my room jamming like I was at a club, and then be coming knocking on my door. That's
I didn't get spanking. I got abused.
You got abused? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm sorry. But no, you know, it's interesting because we're talking about it.
It's okay.
We're talking about this, right? And I recently saw the Michael movie, and that, like, I was crying when I saw that movie, especially how Joe was with Michael. But then I'm zooming out, right, as a parent, right? For whatever reason, he felt the need to do this to keep them disciplined. But I felt like a lot of his tactics were very, it was unnecessary, extreme, right? But then at the same point, we wouldn't have Michael the way he is today because of that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a cause and effect. And Michael was such a beautiful soul. Like, even the song that I'm about to say now, I don't know if you ever heard of They Don't Care About Us, but it correlates to like the whole music concept too, how he says, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Enough is enough of this garbage. He says, skinhead, deadhead, everybody gone bad. Situations, aggravations, everybody allegation. Innocent on the news, everybody dog food. Bang, bang, shot dead. Everybody's gone mad. So earlier on Instagram, I found a video that had just the lyrics, and I listened really closely. And I was like, wow, that's deep. So I remixed it. And guess what happened? Because I remixed it, and because of the lyrics of the song, Instagram and Facebook decided that my video was blocked. And so I'm about to do a screen record, but I say this to say the point of what I'm trying to say is we're talking about the abusive part, but now we have this individual who is in a different world, in a spiritual realm, putting out these types of music that, because of the lyrics, one, a lot of people theorize that that's why he's not here today, right? In addition to his whole catalog, but also bringing awareness to the community of what is happening to us today, to our people. They don't care about us. They don't give two craps about us, right? And so it's really, really, really unfortunate. I know I said a mouthful, so any thoughts about that?
Why did they block it? I'm just confused about that. I mean, you remixed it, so it's not like you were stealing the content or the music.
But so my theory is they blocked it because of the wording. So whenever you all have a moment, read the words or listen to the lyrics, because they're really deep lyrics that, a lot of people just go by the beat. Okay, but what is the lyric saying? I'm a lyric person. I want to hear, what are the words saying, not just necessarily the beat. And this song is super duper uber deep, because he's talking about real stuff. Even the music video, you see him in prison. He says that he has, in one of his lyrics, he says, "Tell me what has become of my life. I have a wife and two children who love me. I am a victim of police brutality. Now I'm tired of being the victim of hate. You're ripping me off of my pride. Oh, for God's sake."
I've heard the lyrics to that song when it came out, and I mean, I know it was a long time ago, but I'm gonna have to revisit it.
Right. And even the part where he's like, "I look to heaven to fulfill its prophecy, set me free." So when I hear that, and I hear him mentioning God and heaven and fulfilling prophecy, that tells me that he was divinely sent and divinely touched by God. Right. So, Cece, I think you were going to say something about that earlier too.
Yeah, I did see the movie. It was amazing. I know they kept it really light, in a sense. In the movie, they didn't go into all of the, all the stuff that happened, because they got like several movies out about Michael and different people playing his character and that kind of stuff with Neverland and all, all the things. It was a lot of controversy behind Michael, but he didn't have a childhood. I know people thought he was weird. Some people thought he was weird. I truly thought he was an amazing person. I thought too that, when you're a child, we're a child actor, and just how your life, you don't have a life. It's like you're making money for the family, and I can understand how the greed, right, like with Joe, their dad, can drive a person. And then also, I believe that their dad like a music artist or something, because it was like he was trying to live vicariously through his children, because he didn't make it as big. And we know out of that family, the only two big superstars really that got any kind of notoriety was Michael and Janet, the two youngest, right? And so they went through a lot. One of the questions that I was asking, I believe, and I don't think anybody's ever really said, I don't know, I haven't researched it that deep, but I believe that Joe was also abusive to Catherine, their mother, right? Because she was very timid, very quiet kind of, but I believe he was very abusive. I believe he was physically and emotionally and verbally abusive to her as well, because he was to the boys and probably the girls as well. I'm pretty sure he wasn't any different with any of them, but his drive. And like you say, would we have, if Joe didn't do what he did, would we have that same Michael today? You know what I'm saying? Like, his music and all of the blessings. And I do believe that he was touched. He truly had a gift from God, as we all do. I believe he fulfilled his calling, to bring people joy and happiness through his music, and to get people to think. He even tried to bring people together. Remember the gangs in the movie and stuff like that? I didn't even know that. I know that was like a real thing, but I thought that was super cool. And just looking at him because we can never really know him, right? But just seeing, how he's portrayed on TV, seeing him, in the news and like going to the concerts and all, he just seems like a really cool and good person. I didn't believe all the things that they said about Michael. I know some people may have. I just think that he was really misunderstood. And of course, when you're in the spotlight like that, you're so big. People, they look to find things, right, to bring you down, right? Because to whom much is given, much is required. And he gave a lot, like a whole lot. And so I just take my hat off to him, rest in peace. I know that Janet Jackson, his sister, was not a part of the movie. And, some things that come out, I don't know what's true and what's false, but, the family's kind of at odds. But this was definitely a come up for the Jackson family, right? It was definitely a big paycheck. And I'm pretty sure, 1,000% sure that they're going to probably do something more and continue to make money off of his name. And I don't know if that's good or bad or right or wrong. I know people I have mixed feelings about it or whatnot. But yeah, I don't know, but I'm grateful to have been blessed by Michael's music, by his performances, and just seeing all the wonderful things that he's done for the world, because he did give back. He did give back so much to the public. And so for that, I'm truly grateful.
Remember his song, Heal the World? I believe wholeheartedly that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's beautiful. I'm so glad we took a moment to recognize that, because it just correlated with the conversation that we were having about children and about discipline. And then Michael he's that child star that was severely disciplined by his father. Goodness gracious, that poor kid. That made me cry. I was like, why are you hurting Michael? Like, what's happening right now? Like, why? Oh gosh, yes. But hey, I know that was part of the story, and it's one of those things where it's like, wow. Nadine, you haven't had a chance to watch the movie yet, have you?
No, not yet.
Well, when you get a moment, I would recommend, like, maybe if you want to take yourself on a date night or something, or maybe whenever you have somebody come visit, go on a date night and hey, go watch a movie.
Yes, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yes. All right. Well, I know we have a guest patiently waiting behind the scenes, but before we jump over to that and do a quick sponsor break, I want to just bring awareness for those who have Meta business pages. And I know I shared this on my page as well, but I want to talk about here as well. There is a scam going out there, and please do not get caught. There's individuals setting Meta for Business. It's called Agency Partner Program, is Meta's partner network. Any other program is not affiliated with Meta. So what they're doing, these are hackers. They're impersonating, it says, join the Meta Agency Partner Program. And then they have like their business name. And what happens is once you click on that, you're giving this unknown individual access to access your pages.
Mm-hmm.
So please, like, this is for your awareness. Like, just more of a PSA. I'm going to read this to you here. Please be careful with these Meta partner programs or business access requests that are floating around. Just because it says Meta, it does not necessarily mean it's a legitimate business, right? Because we know so before approving anything, make sure that you know, and you already have a heads up, like, hey, so-and-so is coming, and you have agreed, and you've both on the same page. Verify the business inside Meta Business Manager. Confirm you actually know and trust the business and or person. Never share passwords, never share login codes, never share payment info. Do not, I repeat, do not click on any random message links. Even in the email, you're going to see that hyperlink. Do not click on that. If you don't know that business name that's trying to get access to your account, that's a scammer. That's a hacker. Okay.
I got that last week.
Yeah.
Put any link.
Yeah, that's interesting that they were able to get to you and you didn't click on anything.
They got into my ad account. That's what happened. And when Meta, I messaged Meta, they immediately said, can I get on a call with you? And they got on the call with me. And so once they got on the phone call with me, then they told me to log in. They gave me a link for me to do a screen share, and I started doing that. And we're there trying to delete the ads. First of all, they started the ad with $2. So once they saw that the account was active, they raised it to $50. And it's a good thing. My discernment check your emails every day. It's so important, guys. Check your emails every day, because there's not a day that go by that I do not check my email. So I checked my email. First thing I woke up, like it was 8 o'clock in the morning. So when I woke up, I saw a notification that said your ad's been approved. Mind you, I don't have an active, I have a business page, but I had put a pause on my boutique, my store. So I'm like, my ad's been approved. I said, I didn't put any ads out. Sometimes once in a while I do the ads for my body butters or my books, but it was for my boutique. I'm like, my ads, I don't have anything. So I went on there. I'm like, this is from Vietnam. What the heck? So Meta and we were close, that little button on the ads where you could, turn the ad off. We turned it off. They were turning it back on. We were doing that. They were adding other people to the ad, like a different email address or whatever. And then they were trying to change my birthday. They changed to February 3rd or something, 2003. And Meta, we were trying to shut it off. We were going through it, but the guy, he was so calm. He's like, don't worry. He said, it's a good thing that you catch it, because if you didn't, they would raise it. They've seen people's accounts where they raise it to $1,000 a day. Can you imagine? and they only got like 68 cents when the ad started. So in order for me to delete my bank account and my card, I had to pay for the ad. Eventually, they said Meta would reimburse you if they had charged a significant amount. But can you imagine if they had raised up to thousands and thousands of dollars and you don't have that in your account in order for you to shut down your credit card? That is crazy. And mind you, they were trying to advertise. Cece, you're addicted to water bottle. It's one of those, and I have that same exact water bottle downstairs. It's a plastic water bottle, one of those pop cap, like silver looking water bottle. They were trying to advertise. They were trying to advertise a water bottle. Let me tell you, I was so livid. I was like, and then another one from Mexico. His name was, he had like 4 different names, Nasciento, Santos, or something, 4 different names. I put his information on my Facebook, on my page. It's still there, and I added it to my story too. So he was requesting, how are you going to request access to my ads? Like, I kept saying those emails requesting access to your ads. So I have some sort of blockage because he didn't get in because he was requesting access. But I was like, why are you sending? I don't know this person. So they know that I'm in the United States and from Mexico, from Vietnam. So they were able to shut it down. So most importantly, make sure you add a phone number to your ads, your ad management page. If you're a business owner, make sure you also turn on your 2-factor authentication and you check your email every single day. No excuses.
Right. Yep. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry to hear that you went through all that. That's really unfortunate that people are sitting here trying to steal from hardworking people. It's like, y'all people need to get a life. Y'all need to get a life. So if you are hearing me right now, whoever it is, and if you're doing this, get a life for the better.
Basta. Well, I'm sorry, that's Italian. How you say basta? How you say stop in Spanish?
Oh, ya para. Yeah, well, basta también is the same thing. Basta para. So yeah, it's
girl, I still have it in my mind because like basta. When my neighbor used to talk to her daughter in Italy, she's like basta.
That is so funny. You are hilarious. All right, we're going to go on a quick sponsor break. And then when we come back, we're going to do an intro for our guest. And we're going to have our amazing guest that has been patiently waiting for us behind the scenes. So don't go anywhere. No te vayas, because Hoy En Día TV will be right back.
At Cab Zenza, we believe beauty is a ritual, not just a routine. Rooted in intention and inspired by nature, our skincare is crafted to nourish more than just the skin. It nourishes the spirit. Every jar is made with purpose. Because when you flourish inside, it shows on the outside. Cab Zenza's isn't skincare, soul care.
From the moment that I put this Cab Zenza on my skin, it feels most amazing. As you can see, it has your skin glistening, it's moisturizing. You too should get Cab Zenza.
Luxurious body butters. Are you looking for the perfect shirt for that special occasion? At Collective Custom Wear, we bring your vision to life. From weddings, family reunions, anniversaries, or casual outing with friends, express yourself with your unique style and leave a memorable mark. Order now. Our custom shirts are designed just for you.
A bold builder of people, purpose, and platforms, Girls with Gigs helps high performers and those desiring to achieve more shift mindsets and activate purpose. Whether it's career or leadership development, personal branding, or knowing your worth. In the job market, transformation has never been closer because this is where purpose meets action and dreams become destiny. Book your free consultation today at www.girlswithgigs.com.
Yes, so as we know, our skin is the largest organ in our body. Make sure it stays hydrated. Invest in Cab Zenza today because Nadine Barton is going to hook you up with her body butter. Yes. Also, finding your purpose may not always be easy for many, and that's okay because we have Dr. Andra Dilly who is here to help you find your purpose. And for those who are looking for custom-made shirts, whether it be for birthday, anniversary, work gathering, holiday, what have you, guess what? Collective Custom Wear is here. We have these Hoy En Día TV shirts. and bodysuits available, custom made, and yours can be custom made too. So order now. All right. Yes. So, lovelies, who is going to read the bio? Cece, would you do us the honors? Okay, perfect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I have the pleasure of introducing Moreyah Pierre, who is an educator, curriculum developer, special education advocate, and community leader with over 15 years of experience supporting students, families, and communities. She's deeply passionate about advocating for neurodivergent learners and individuals within the special education population, ensuring they have access to equitable support, meaningful opportunities, and environments where they can thrive. Her work spans special education leadership, IEP development, parent advocacy, curriculum writing, and the creation of educational programs designed to empower both learners and educators. In addition to her professional work in education, she is actively involved in the community development, mentorship, and cultural leadership. She's helping to build systems to support and strengthen families, encouraging personal growth, and preserving value-centered living. With a strong focus on practical solutions, accountability, and whole person development, Moreyah brings a dynamic perspective that blends educational expertise, advocacy, cultural awareness, and lived experience. Her voice is rooted in service, empowerment, and meaningful change, making her both relatable and impactful in conversations that inspire growth, healing, and transformation. Without further ado, let us welcome Moreyah Pierre. Hey, hey, hey!
Greetings. Hoy En Día.
Yeah, we're so happy to finally have you here. You look amazing. Woo-hoo!
You all do too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we're, like Cece said and Nadine said, we're truly thrilled to have you here on Hoy En Día TV. You have an amazing bio that Cece just read for us. But in a nutshell, who do you say you are, Moreyah?
Hmm. I am so many faces and so many things, but I guess I could only say one thing. I am a disciple of teaching and sharing, right? And disciple discipline. Still struggling with discipline, but definitely disciple. So, the requirements, expectations of who we are to be, even as women. So that's who I am. Always a disciple trying to get to be that woman I'm supposed to be, right? The one that was decreed. This is who you ought to be here in this world. Always a struggle, but push through, right?
Absolutely. Hey, I get it. That's how we got pushed through. That's what makes women like us strong and resilient, because we do push through the good, through the bad. Even when times get tough, we find ways to push through and keep going. So praise be to God. So you have over 15 years of experience in education and in advocacy. What first inspired your passion for special education and supporting neurodivergent learners?
This, wow, that started a long time ago. When I was much younger, and it's interesting, you all were talking about experiences when you're younger and how that affects you. So when I was much younger, I had a cousin. We used to call her Auntie, but Auntie Tiny. I do not know, but her name was Tiny. That was her name. I was born and raised in Grenada, so that was a nickname, that's for sure. Um, but she was locked away in a room for a very long time. That's how her family chose to engage with her. She came out every now and again, but she was always ushered back into the room. And I didn't know it had such an impact on me until I moved to the US to study. I started my studies in engineering, and then I switched to education. So when I came here, I encountered a Trinidadian teacher, Sheila Paul, is her name. And while doing her doctorate, she was teaching at Medgar Evers College. And she introduced us to special education, um, are really understanding different students and youth with different disabilities, how to work with them, how to spot the different disabilities, but also how to see them as a whole being, as a whole person. That was very, how should I say, it was very revolutionary at that time, because everyone just saw the disability, and she always taught us to kind of see the whole person. What are their capabilities? Start there. What can they do? start there. So, that is what got me started.
Thank you for sharing that background. That's really touching that you, because of you seeing your, was it, you said your aunt or your cousin, Tiny?
It was a cousin. I believe it was a cousin. Oh my goodness.
Cousin. Oh,
The family's so big. It's big.
yeah, well, that's good. Well, because of your experience with your cousin Tiny, and this sparked that interest in you. So thank you for sharing that. And so, with that in mind, and even you working in a health in the education system, what are some of the biggest challenges that you notice families face when they're navigating through, especially with special education and the system is how it is today in our current times? Because I know it changed from what we've seen before.
Yeah. How do they say things change, but they remain the same? It's what are the rights of parents with students or youth who have disabilities? What are your rights? Um, I noticed that there are two sides to it. There's either there is a misunderstanding of what your rights are, or there is lack of clarity. Um, and so most times parents initiate the process because they're looking for help, and they call it help and equate it to a tutor. So the problem with that is they slap on the same academic expectations on a student who may not have the cognitive ability to function at the same pace at the same. So it really it takes away from them being a whole person, because you're already saying, okay, I need you to catch up, and whatever you're receiving, it will make you catch up, but it does not. And then there is that level of frustration at times that parents have because they expect there to be an improvement, or to show growth in some ways. And if a child has a cognitive, do I have feedback? Are you all hearing any feedback? No? Okay.
I'm not,
Okay.
no.
Pardon. So, um, yeah, I noticed that that is a big problem, because it also puts the student in a place where they're constantly trying to meet a goal, or run with everyone else at the same pace, and they cannot. Um, our services as a special educator, our services most times, sometimes it's to fill a gap, but sometimes it's to support a brain that's not functioning cognitively like every other student. And it doesn't mean that the disability may have anything to do with um, just intellectual, right? Some minds, it is very difficult to focus on content, or uh, something that's being shared, a lesson, whether adult or child, when there's a lot of background noise, right? Some disabilities focus on the background noise, so everything that's closest to them becomes, impossible to focus on, because they hear the dripping of the tap in the back, and that's distorting receptivity of what is happening in a conversation. So it's just there's so many different variations to how different disabilities affect children, and that challenge of parents not, maybe there's a little bit of denial, but also not clearly understanding what their rights are and what the child's rights are, and what the services provide.
I'm glad you talked about the parents' rights and things of that nature. Like, where do parents go, right, to find out about their rights, to know what their rights are and what the child's rights are? Is there like a site that they can just kind of go on, or do they need to sit down and talk to the administration? Like, how do you get the parent to be able to get that information?
Yeah, so there are a couple of places. Now I think things have advanced very much to the point where AI has taken over. So parents, I can hear the language. I know where you got it. I understand. I know what just happened 10 minutes ago. Um, so there is that. That's an option. They turn to it. I can tell. It gives them information. It helps to guide them. Local advocates, you may not find them in the school building, because in some ways, uh, So one of my first experiences teaching was in New York, and there were certain things we could not say to parents. We could not show them what alternative programs. We were not at liberty to share those things. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, I remember right now why, but it was just maybe a conflict of interest that was possible. But um, your local teacher, your educator, she may be sharing a workshop um, in the library. It may be happening off campus, but there are definitely people showing up locally to support. And the new term is advocate, right? Um, You'll also find there are a few women, but I can't remember names right now. They run Instagram pages. They were educational lawyers. So finding an educational lawyer whose wheelhouse focuses on neurodivergent children and IDEA, rights and laws, legislature, in terms of any kind of laws that were created that governs the process of evaluation for children and the disabilities and the rights that they have access to. Understood.com or .org is also a really great website. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say websites on here, but that is a great place. They have tons of resources, lots of accommodations listed that parents can look into. Iris Center is also another website that is very comprehensive, right? I would say parents can find a lot of resources there, but teachers and educators can also find resources there. Lots of how-tos, lessons, how to implement certain strategies to support students of different disabilities, and just I think there's a lot of information out there. We may not like social media, but I do find there are many parents who are, and families dealing with, well, not dealing with, but families who have children with neurodivergent disabilities and neurodivergent minds, and they are opening up. They're sharing their journey. They are empowering other women and other men and other family members, and they're doing. I think it is enlightening just to hear people's journey and their stories, and it is not just about the challenges, but it's also the breakthroughs, right? So many parents with young children who have had autism, they're talking about the changes that they're seeing, the shifts that they're seeing in terms of children moving from nonverbal to being verbal, right? So, and I have to pause and say, many of them speak about herbal blends, herbs, and also introducing a particular type of diet. They cannot eat the same way every other child does. There must be boundaries and restrictions as to how you feed them, because you're feeding a mind, because you're trying. And some people say, okay, we accept the autistic mind, we accept the neurodivergent mind, we should not fix them. We're not saying we have to fix them, but what we are saying is, just like my body, if I do not hydrate properly, my lips will crack and lots of things will happen to my body. As a woman, there are other things that can happen. We can talk on that level too. So I just think when we're not in balance, or where the body is lacking certain things, then it shows up in different ways. And so the beauty of being able to just look at some of those social media posts and the shares, you get to see the journey that parents take to bring balance to their child's lives, to bring speech to their lives, something as simple as that, you know?
I
So
love
those,
that.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. I'm so glad you mentioned about the health and like the herbs and things, because I know too that you're very holistic, and grounded with the earth, and getting the herbs and things like that we need in our bodies. And I know you have people out there, big pharma. They're like, oh no, there's no to that stuff, that natural stuff, those herbs. Oh no, because they're about money, right. But there are things that we can utilize, right, to be able to help this. So I'm not sure. Maybe maybe you don't. But are there like, so when we're talking about different herbs and things like that to be able to help these children that's like on the spectrum or whatever the disability may be, right? Are there certain things that we can introduce? Let's talk about some of those specific things that we can begin to introduce, into the diet, and things of that nature that may be helpful. And then also with those success stories, do you have a particular story, where the parents said, hey, we did X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? And now my kid is, you know what I'm saying, speaking and doing all the things that you talked about.
I'll start with the last. Unfortunately, I do not. I have more stories of parents being resistant to implementing those changes, and not realizing that it's it's not all food. No, I'm not saying it's not. It is all food and just introducing a herb or one thing, and that would be no. Many of these parents they have shakes, they have smoothies, they introduce high quality omega fats, they have overexposure to vitamin D. These are critical areas that a lot of the population lacks, right? So it may seem simple, but then, yeah, I will say I have more examples of parents being resistant. And it is very sad because when you work so closely with children and you see how food changes the way they interact or the way they're able to receive information and express that information, and when you're able to say, okay, I'm not the parent, so I don't make that choice ultimately, but when you work that closely with them, you get to see how something that's high in sodium or high in carbs or high in sugar actually affects the student's ability to focus, their pace, speech. Sometimes it even slurs speech, right? But we may not pay attention to that. But if you have someone who's working, if you have an educator who's working very closely with children, you can see the difference. So I don't have any wonderful stories, but I do have. I can say there are many families on social media right now. They are sharing their protocols, they're sharing their regimens, they're sharing what works, what does not. Distinctively remember one mother sharing her use of certain magnesium, a specific type of dosage, but it's not just magnesium, right? Again, fish oils, um, good quality organic meats. And to some degree, yes, I was vegan for a very long time. Um, I'm no longer that because I just shift just a little bit and say, I am getting older. And as I'm getting older, I'm noticing that there are things that I need to supplement on. And maybe I don't need supplements. Maybe I just need wholesome food. And so in those cases, they need wholesome food, but they also need skills training. They need executive functioning skills to support them. They need communication skills to support them. So it's holistic, right? And advocacy in that area is holistic. You have to look at all of the components. Children who have um, one of the challenges of ADHD is focus or hyperfocus. That's a bad thing because they have four things happening in their brain at the same time. I have proven it. They can hear, listen to you, follow what's happening in the peripheral on the corner over here, and still write. So all of it is not done well, but they're,
It's
they're
like a
juggling.
superpower. It's
And
like a superpower.
it's funny. It is a superpower, but exposure to sunlight, introducing lavender and calming herbs, lemon balm. And I know children may be resistant to it, but there are many ways to hide it. There are many ways to make drinks to keep them engaged and keep them, interested in consuming. But also, it's the effects. If we have intelligent conversation with children and share this is what will work, and they see it working, you're they will they'll probably start making it themselves, right? And that this is something that I really enjoy about the work that I do when I work with youth. And you do not lie to them, you do not twist the truth, but you tell them openly and have conversations with them openly about what works and what does not, and compromise, and they're able to follow. They're able to follow and they're able to apply. So I spoke about lemon balm. I found an old herb book. I can't remember the year that it was published, but it's an old book, very thin, and it speaks about just introducing again things like lavender, chamomile. These are things that we all are aware of, but those are very calming herbs, very calming oils that can be introduced uh, to students who have, you know, challenges with focus.
Mm.
So, mhm,
Well, Cece, remember when I made the oil and you had that migraine? There was basically lavender and chamomile was in the oil.
please come in.
Yeah, and it worked. It worked.
So it was a whole bunch of mix up. I can't even remember. I should have written down the whatever I put in there.
Yes, chamomile and lavender can be very calming, but again, you do have to do your research as a parent, because there are some forms of lavender that are stimulating just because of the strain. So it may have citrus components to it, which I never knew. I never knew this about lavender. There are all these different types of lavender,
Mhm.
and if it has a citrus tone or citrus components in the molecules that are extracted from the oils, it actually stimulates. It does not calm.
Yes,
So
you.
there's that, and there's also there's a body of work that speaks to the way lavender affects hormones in children. So that's another layer of, research that a parent would have to do. So it's not just you hear something that's
Mhm.
just grab it and go. You have to do that research, right?
Yes.
That's just yeah.
Yeah, I gotta interject on that because I do the body butters and I use oil. So whenever I did my research, you have to make sure that you are because they do have oils that for skincare, and then they do have oils for like to make the home smell good and to put in sprays and stuff like that. So you have to make sure that you do your research to ensure that you're buying the right oil, because somebody could say that, oh yeah, lavender oil, go buy the lavender oil and put it in your skincare or put it on your face or whatever the case is, but you have to make sure you're not buying the oil that you're using to make your home smell good. You have to use the one that's pretty much tailored to the skincare. And there are certain dosages that you have to use too in the
True.
measurement when you do the mixture as well.
Yeah, this is true. You
Yeah.
have to pay attention to what can be used internally and what is for external use.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that for sure. Advocacy work can be emotionally heavy, draining, especially when you care and you're passionate about things, right? So, how do you protect your own peace and continue to stay motivated and to continue to wake up and do what you do each and every day?
Yeah, that's a big piece, I think, of advocacy is community. Community is a crucial component, right? And with some of the advocacy work I've done, the initiative called Sovereign Eats it's to create space for parents or teachers, educators, and youth who are neurodivergent. It gives us a collaborative space to share, but it's not just share because we're going to emotionally overload each other. um you know you're sharing because the objective is solution driven. The objective is collaborative work toward the improving the lives of young people who may have challenges, and creating a space for them to flourish. So again, it's not focused on self, right? So I think a lot of the times we tend to Okay, say, okay, well, I'll go focus on me now. I'll do self-care, but the self-care we do does not involve processing emotions. It does not involve focusing on supporting another person. And, psychology shows us that if we are trying to support ourselves emotionally, the best thing you could do is actually serve another person, serve someone else, right? So there are lots of layers to it, but for me, I know community is important. At the end of my name is Anu, and so Anu Life Global Ministries is the community I'm a part of. And my introduction to the community, one of the books that I encountered was really powerful. It's called The 14 Keys, right? The 14 keys. So the 14 keys reviews Ma'atic principles, and it also reviews the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Most people know it as the principles of Kwanzaa. And so Ujima is collective work and responsibility. So it really zooms in on community again and that collaborative piece. We are nothing without community, and a community is not just random, right? In the community, you are a community. Hoy En Día TV is a community. You have standards, you have a structure, you have a system in place, and you all abide by what that structure is. And so the same is true for when we create pockets of communities, even in advocacy work, that's where your support system is. So you're offering support to others, but others are there for you. And my community is that way. And I learned this from them, and I learned this from my head. I have a master, I have a Lord. You may say husband, you may say, but or mate, very wise. Um, very wise, very wise, and helps to dissipate the chaos that is the female mind. Okay, so there are all these different components that help to keep me balanced.
That's
Very.
deep.
Go ahead, Nadine, with your questions.
So, why is healing and self-awareness important when helping others grow and succeed?
Can you say the question again, please?
Why is healing and self-awareness important when helping others grow and succeed? I had some educational questions, but I think Yessie and Cece covered those.
Yeah, it's if I don't process emotions, if I don't process what I'm experiencing during the day, uh, I hold on to it. And I'm saying I, but that's everyone. There's a really beautiful book called The Body Keeps Score. Um, there's another really powerful book called Mind Heart Words. So Mind Heart Words is a small read, but a powerful read because it speaks about the way experiences train us into responses, right? How our emotions, when they are kept over a period of time, they become feelings. And so I may have an experience. I may have come on today and I may not have smiled at all, and that could have triggered someone. Um, they may think I'm depressed. There are many different things we can think, right?
Right.
But the feelings that we have, those feelings trigger behaviors and thoughts. And so if I'm not processing my emotions, if I am not when you ask the question about wellness and health, that's the first thing. The mind. The
Yeah.
mind is really important to have that balanced. And heart and emotions affect the mind. So if I'm not processing emotions properly or at all, they will stay there. And
Yeah.
whenever I have another experience that is very similar, it may not have affected me, but it will,
Yeah.
because that old experience is still sitting there and I never process it, attached an emotion to it, and then let it go. And if I don't let it go, now I have resentment, and
Yeah.
that spills into everything. So if I am giving and offering support to someone else or solutions to someone else, it's tainted with that, right? It's tainted with those things. So it's really important to process, and I'm not saying it because I'm sitting on the throne of complete perfection. I am
Mm,
not.
right.
Um, but I can say I have seen how it has affected interactions and opportunities that I may have missed out on supporting another person because I misinterpreted.
Mhm.
I misunderstood the experience that I was looking at because I had other experiences myself, and yeah, it does no one any good,
Yeah. So
right?
basically, you gotta heal your chakras, all the chakras in your body. You got to make sure that they're healed and they're taken care of. So I have one more question. So how can people begin healing while balancing everyday life and their responsibilities?
How can you begin healing? That's spiritual work. So now we're moving into a whole different um, level of dialogue and conversation. That is
Mhm.
spiritual. That is spiritual work. So if I rise in the dawn, well, I say dawning, not morning, but if I rise in the morning and the very first thing I give honor to is this, or the very first thing I give honor to is the bill sitting in the back on the desk, then um, we have a problem. It's going to affect the balance that we have. So how can we do that in our daily lives every day? The first thing is to have a spiritual balance, a spiritual guide, someone who is ahead of us, right? More developed spiritually, more developed in wisdom and knowledge to guide us. In my community, we speak of the men very highly because that is their function and role. They are discipline, they are boundary, they are law, they are order, they are status. They set the system in place. Um, and I'll touch back just a little bit because before I came on, you all were speaking about the intensity that male parent instilled order and structure into a very famous singer. But he isn't the only one because as you all were speaking, I thought about Venus and Serena Williams. And so scripture also talks about that. It warns fathers to be very careful because their role is discipline, order, and structure. So it warns them to be aware of that, right? And then we're the nurturer as women. So that 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 daily walk is touching base with whoever you see as your creator, touching base with the creator, making sure you affirm, or some people say pray, making sure that whether it's meditation that you do, but you have to find a way to give honor to something that is higher than yourself or higher than the worldly and mundane things that we see around us. That's how we start. It isn't the self care. It isn't the go get a massage. It isn't. It isn't the oil underneath my foot or underneath my tongue. It is. It is ruach, what we call ruach. Ruach in Hebrew is spirit, right? And the other thing is Torah. I've heard so many times you all share biblical references, and I appreciate that because many times we stray away. We don't realize that there's so much wisdom given there. Torah and mitzvah is Hebrew for laws and commandments, and they guide you. They guide us. There's a reason why there are food laws that tell us eat this way, don't eat that way. There's a reason why there are laws that indicate if you're a woman, these are the things you need to do when you're going through a certain time. This answers the question, Nadine, because it may seem as some people may say, okay, meditate, but everything that we do in this world is based on law, right? This spring, we're in spring. Pretty soon it's going to be summer. It's following a law. There's a law, right? Nothing we could do all of the chanting we want to change that law, but there are forces in the universe that are governed by things outside of our control. And the truth is, that's how we do daily. That's how we heal daily. That's how we get to wellness daily. And it may not look the same for all of us. If we strengthen our relationship with our creator, that guidance is going to come. You, Sandra, may need some other herb. You, Miss Nadine, you may dream of something. And it may come to you like, oh wait, what is that? What is that for? And then you start researching and you realize, wait, this is what I actually need. This is what I actually need. If your relationship with the creator is not strong, you're not getting guidance. You're not being instructed properly. You know, no apologies, because I guess, is heading in the direction it should go. But I wanted to share that so that it's clear on how true healing really comes about in our lives.
That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Very, very deep and thought provoking. And wow, I really like how you broke that down. So thank you. Cece and Nadine, any other questions before we transition over to our last minute words?
No, I do not.
I have tons, right? So I'm just going to have you come back for part 2. Because it's like, there's so much, right? I definitely want to talk more about the whole holistic and, all the naturopath, all the things, right? There's so much for us to learn and to know and grow. And I just love doing that. I'm not against, Western medicine, but it's not my first go-to. If I absolutely got it, I'm going to do it, but that's not the first go-to, because there are things, food, right? Food is very healing, right? For us. So I do want to kind of get more into that, and definitely check out all those books that you were talking about down to check those out as well. Because just knowledge is power, right? It's power. And so I just want to say thanks for being on the show. I've really enjoyed it. Just the wealth of information. Just such a pleasure to have you on. So thank you again so much.
So, and I know you're from the island, so you already know that, if I get sick or if Cece gets sick, usually the first thing I'm saying to Cece, make sure you drink some tea, drink some ginger tea or drink some soursop leaf tea or something. I'm always giving her some island remedy before any medicine. So yeah, we go back to, like you say, our roots in that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that'll be a great idea for you to come back on if you're interested and available later on in the year. So we can definitely focus and hone in more on the holistic medicine approach, herbs, etc. That'll be great. So
yes, I'm happy to reach out anytime. It was beautiful being on here. Thank you. I'm happy to be a part of the dynamic experience that you all create. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, don't go anywhere because we're not done yet. So stay logged in with us. We're not quite done yet. We're going to go on a quick sponsor break. And then when we come back, what we're going to do is what's called last minute words. And that's an opportunity for you to remind the people who you are, where they can find you, follow you, if they have any questions for you or want to work with you or hire you, book you, however, where can they do that? And so usually what happens from there is I'll have Cece start us off, Nadine, you'll go third, Moreyah, and then I'll close out with my words. So, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Hoy En Día TV.
Dream, explore, discover with Nadine's Travel Oasis. Your next adventure is just a booking away. From breathtaking beaches to vibrant cityscapes, we handle the details so you can make the memories. Luxury, leisure, or last-minute getaways, we've got you covered. Book today and let Nadine's Travel Oasis take you places. Sponsored by Collective Wear. Available at www.yessierodriguez.com/shop and myrod-enterprise.com/shop. Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories. Watch Hoy En Día TV, Thursdays, 7:30 p.m.
Yes, big shout out to our additional sponsors. We have Nadine's Travel Oasis. So guess what? Summer is approaching. Even if you want to go now in spring, summer, whenever, fall, travel, live, right? We have a beautiful world to see and it's time. So don't put that travel date off because you got to live life today. Reach out to Nadine. She will get you booked up and you'll be ready to fly soon. So yes. Also, Collective Wear. Shout out to our sponsor, Collective Wear. That they're separate from Collective Custom Wear. So just a clarification on that. But they are a clothing brand as well. And accessories, Divine Beauty and Accessories. Make sure to grab your accessories because you got to, there's special occasions where you got to wear your jewelry and look fly. I love my jewelry. Yeah, I love looking at my earrings and my necklaces. I just love it. But hey, that's me, right? All right. Yes, the last minute word segment. This is where we get to say, remind people who we are, where they can find us, follow us, any quotes, paragraph, whatever it is that comes to your heart. This is the opportunity to do that. So, Cece, if you would lead us, please, followed by Nadine, Moreyah, and I'll close out.
Yes, absolutely. So, hey, I'm your girl, Sienna, the Actions with Inspire for Purpose, where we equip, empower, and help you to execute your life's mission, right? We help you do that by putting it into action, right? You got to put it into action. So remember, nothing positive ever came from negative thinking. So think on those things that are true. Think on the things that are noble, the things that are just and pure, anything that is of a good report, right? Anything that is praiseworthy or virtuous, right? Think on those things. And as always, love and light and inspire for purpose.
All right. Nadine Barton, the author here. You can find me on Instagram at Nadia B_1202, as you see on the screen, NADIAB _1202, or you can find my books on Amazon. Just search my name and you'll see them pop up. And my body butters at www.cabzenzah.com. And like I always say, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react. So treat people kind.
Thank you all for having me. I am Moreyah. You can find me on Instagram at Sovereign Eats. That was my original business, Sovereign Eats, and reach out for advocacy, reach out for ideas and strategies for your youth if you're interested. We also are launching Torah loving teachers, a space and place for teachers who are followers of Torah and law, and they want to commune and just, brainstorm on strategies and how to teach in the home and teach at their jobs, reach out via email at Marsha P. Maat, that is MARSHAPMAAT @gmail.com, and I'll be happy to support you.
Yeah, Moreyah, can you spell your Instagram so we can find you?
Oh, Sovereign, SOVEREIGN, Sovereign Eats.
Eats, okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Wow. Another amazing segment of Hoy En Día TV. We talked about a lot, like we always do, right? Because that is what Hoy En Día is, to positively motivate, educate, inspire, enlighten, and entertain you, the viewer and listener, with each and every episode. For those who want to find us and follow us, we are available on IG, YouTube, Facebook, and also people can hear us on RSS. You can go on my personal website, yessirodriguez.com. And then from there, you'll be able to, there's a Hoy En Día link on the upper left-hand corner. Once you select that drop down, it's going to take you to the pages. So we're on Spotify, Amazon Music, Samsung Music, Apple Music. Like we're all a bunch of different ones, and it's great. And I want to say I found like 5 or 6 more that we're on. So I got to update that list. But nevertheless, as you know, we are a worldwide platform. Praise be to God. People are hearing us because this is what we are here to positively motivate, enlighten, inspire, educate, and entertain you, the viewer and listener. For those who want to find me and follow me, I am Yessie Rodriguez, and it's really simple. Just go on Google, on Edge, Safari, type in YESSE Rodriguez. Voila, I'll pull right up for you. You see my social media handles there, my website, yessirodriguez.com, and then you can find and connect with me that way. So, but yes, thank you so much for your support. And like I always say, the sky is never the limit because the galaxies are endless. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Hoy En Día TV. Until next week, take care.
Ciao.